Hello. Today I'm in a different setting. I'm not in my fucking living room or in my room or my house. Obviously, I'm outside. I'm in the woods. I'm in what I like to call Blair Witch Woods because obviously, look at this shit. If that doesn't look like the woods in the Blair Witch Project movie, I don't know what. Yeah. I'm out here. This woods is actually right behind my house. And today I'm out here because I wanted to kind of set the setting in a way for what I want to talk about. Today I wanted to talk about my only one encounter with a certain kind of creature, cryptid, animal, some people call it, because it would be an animal in a way. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skunk ape. It has very many different names. The big hairy guy, the big hairy creature with the giant fucking feet. Yes, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Yes. And I already know that you're probably hearing the words Bigfoot or hearing the words Sasquatch and you're rolling your fucking eyes. You're saying, oh boy, this shit again. Oh boy, some fucking Bigfoot enthusiast fucking preaching his fucking thing about how Bigfoot is real and how Bigfoot exists, and he's going on and on about it. But yeah, whatever. I wanted to talk about my only experience I've ever had that is sort of, I guess I could call it a Bigfoot experience, because I don't even know if, in reality I think it is, but I have no clue if it qualifies as a Bigfoot experience. I don't know. So, yeah. I'll start out the story. I was at my grandma's house. She has a woods and a creek down by her house, and I was walking down the creek as I usually do. That's one of my favorite pastimes down there, is when I used to, get done helping her doing something, I would go down to the creek and walk by the creek and in the woods by the creek as well. It's one of my favorite things I used to do. And I don't do it so much anymore because I don't really go out there that much anymore. But that's another story. But yeah. I was walking down there as my usual thing. Nothing really special about this day. It was September, October, around this time. It wasn't November yet. I think it was maybe starting to get cold. So it was like a colder October day. And I was probably wearing a hoodie, just like I am now. And I was just walking down the creek. I walk the furthest away from the house because it's further away from other people, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So I was walking down the creek, and there's this certain spot way, way, way down at the creek where there's a big walnut tree. It's a huge-ass walnut tree. I would try to show you what a walnut tree looked like, but I don't think there's any walnut trees in this woods right now. So, yeah, sorry about that. But, yeah, this big-ass walnut tree. I usually walk up to this walnut tree just to fucking stand under it, sit under it, and enjoy nature, listen to nature, because it was a weird thing I used to do. And sometimes, if you're silent enough and you're quiet enough, you can see animals, like deer, raccoons, squirrels, possums, sometimes cows, because it was cows down there because it was my uncle's property. Yeah. Cows. And sometimes if you're really lucky, you can see a fucking coyote. If you're really lucky and at the right time. you could see a coyote. So I was just sitting under this tree, minding my own business, enjoying the peacefulness of nature and everything. So when all of a sudden I start hearing a noise a good distance away, a real good distance away, and I was thinking, oh, it's some sort of animals walking up on me because I'm being quiet. It's a deer probably, or maybe a cow, or maybe some other small animal. Hell, or maybe it could be a fucking dog or something, like a lost dog or something. And this, whatever this is making noise with the leaves. And closer it gets, closer, the more I start to realize this doesn't really sound like a normal animal. This sounds like it's way heavy. And the closer it gets to me, I start realizing this doesn't even sound like an animal. Because, you know, when you live in a rural area like I do, obviously, you start to, you know, recognize the sounds of animals, you know, like their footsteps, what they sound like. You start to recognize what they sound like. Like, I pretty much know what a deer sounds like when it's stepping in fucking leaves or the ground or something. I know what a fucking cow sounds like because I've heard it enough times. Cow's footsteps sound like. I know what something with 4 legs, I know what it sounds like. But, like I said, the closer this thing fucking got, the more I start to realize this thing doesn't have 4 legs. It sounds like people footsteps, you know. But closer it got, it was like really, really fucking heavy people footsteps. I'm like, oh great, it's my fucking uncle coming out to fucking bitch at me for fucking, I don't know, something. Or maybe it's fucking someone trespassing, and maybe they saw me walk up here and they think, you know, that, or maybe it's a neighbor or something thinking I'm a trespasser on my uncle's property, and they're walking up to me to fucking get me in trouble or something, you know. But I'm like, oh great, so I brace for it. And so I think, if it is a person, I might as well say something to this person so they know, hey, I'm here. So I holler, hey! Something like that. And I get nothing. No response, no hey back, no anything. And eventually, the footsteps just come to a sudden stop. And it's silent. And I'm like, okay, what is this person doing? I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I was in any danger, or I didn't know if I should run away, say something else, make more noise to make my presence known. I didn't know what was going on. So I decided, you know, to make more noise, you know, I decided, hey, I'm going to clap, you know, because sometimes that's a good recognition of, you know, someone's there. So I start clapping. I would clap for you, but I'm holding the camera, so I can't really clap. But I start clapping, like a big, you know, those loud claps. You know those loud claps when you, like, see some sort of animal and you try to shoo it away or something? Those kind of claps. I thought maybe if this was a person, it would get their attention, or maybe make them realize that I'm a person too, so don't shoot me or anything. Like if it was like a hunter or something. So I start clapping, and then it just more silence, more nothing. So I get the bright idea, which is probably not bright to be honest, but I get the idea of fucking throwing something at this, whatever this is, because I have no idea if it's an animal. I don't even know if it's still there, or a person, or anything. I don't know what it is. So I decided I'm gonna throw a fucking walnut at it. Maybe I could scare it enough that I could figure out what it was. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, so I decide, I pick up a walnut, and I toss it in the direction where the noise was came from before. It landed with a big thump. Probably hit a tree or something, or the ground, I have no idea. But it landed with a big thump, and I was still waiting for some kind of response. Maybe heard something walking away, running away, if it was an animal, or maybe someone hollering at me or something. Finally, I did get a response, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Suddenly, I started hearing, let me get to a better spot. Suddenly, I started hearing shuffling of like leaves, like not walking, not like something getting closer, but something that's just moving a bunch of leaves around. Like something, you know the sound of when someone, let's see, since when someone does this. That, when someone digs up their heels, that sound. That's what it sounded like, someone just shuffling their feet around. And that was definitely a human thing, unless it was something really just digging. But it sounded more, like I said, it sounded just like someone doing this. Like someone digging their feet into the ground. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And then I heard a fucking tree noise. It was like, what is a tree noise? So I heard like something rubbing, like something doing this. You hear that? Like something like rubbing a tree. I was thinking, maybe this is a deer, because they do that sometimes. But it's the next thing that made me realize that this wasn't no fucking animal. If it was an animal, I don't know what kind of fucking animal this was. Suddenly I heard a big, gigantic, let's see if I can do it, snap of a tree. Something like that. And it was a big loud snap. I don't know if you even heard that. Let's see if I can do it again. That, see? Like a snap. Like of one of these little tiny trees kind of snapping. Yeah. And then I was thinking, oh great, this is a person. Or something. But then again, why would a person snap a goddamn branch? Were they trying to, I don't know, freak me out? Were they trying to scare me? So I decide to fucking throw another walnut, thinking maybe this is something like a deer or something. Maybe this will scare it this time. Even though it didn't before, but maybe it will this time. So I grabbed another walnut. This walnut was kind of bigger. So, and I toss it in that direction again. And I make a really good effort this time of tossing it. Make sure that it goes a good distance. And I hear it. This time it sounds different. It must have hit something else. And then all of a sudden I hear like a barrage of fucking running noises. But it just starts tearing off whatever this is. Heavily, really heavy footsteps. But in a running, like something like kind of like power walking away from me. And I still couldn't see it, this thing, by the way. I want to add that. I couldn't see this thing because, like I said, the woods was fucking thick. It was like thick. I mean, sometimes you could still see a little bit, but it was thicker than this. It was thicker than this. It had a lot of, there were still leaves on the trees sometimes, and sometimes they weren't even normal leaves, Sometimes it was this fucking pine tree shit. And yeah. Whatever this thing was, took off fucking running with 2 feet, mind you. This this would make it even more evident, even if I wasn't already thinking that this was a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. This made it more evident that this thing was either a fucking giant fucking person, like a big ass person. Like, this thing had heavy fucking footsteps. Heavy fucking footsteps. Heavier than mine, and I'm a fucking big fucking guy. You hear my footsteps? It was heavy compared to me. And this thing bolted in the opposite direction. And it just took off all of a sudden. Maybe it thought I was another Bigfoot. I have no idea. I really don't. Or, like I said, it could have been a fucking giant person with this really heavy footsteps. That could have been a possibility too. I don't know. But yeah. That's my Bigfoot Sasquatch-like encounter or experience. Yeah, I know it wasn't really super interesting. Or it wasn't like, I didn't hear no fucking growling or anything like that, or guttural noises or anything cool like that. But yeah, sometimes Bigfoot experiences are just that, you know. You hear fucking something with 2 feet stomping in the woods and breaking branches, and sometimes that's all the Bigfoot experiences and sightings and encounters are. It's just that. So yeah, go ahead, you know, mock me in the comments down below. Call me ridiculous. Call me silly. Don't take me seriously anymore. I know. I understand. Because I understand why people fucking don't take Bigfoot encounters, Bigfoot experiences, sightings, or anything, or anybody who really believes in Bigfoot or Sasquatch seriously anymore, because of the whole fucking show, Bigfoot hunter shows that are fucking everywhere. The over fucking ridiculous, the over dramatized, over hyped, obviously fabricated Bigfoot hunter shows. You know what I'm talking about. The monster hunter shows, the Bigfoot hunter shows, the Finding Bigfoot, which for a while I liked and kind of believed, but then I realized something, that it might not have been 100% real. So, yeah. It's no wonder people think, the believers in Bigfoot and Sasquatch are ridiculous, not serious individuals. No wonder, because it's shit like that that give us a bad reputation. That give actual fucking sightings and real encounters and real people's stories and real stuff like that bad fucking rep. It's shit like that is obviously fabricated. Even the fake fucking video sightings that you see every so often. You know, the obviously fake ones where it's someone in a fucking gorilla costume, or someone in some sort of elaborate Bigfoot costume walking through the goddamn woods, or something like that, where you can literally tell, where it's kind of purposely fucking, you know, awful quality just because they can get away with faking it. It's shit like that that make real encounters, real sightings, real experiences with Bigfoot and Sasquatch, real accounts, get fucking laughed at and treated like they're fucking jokes. Like, oh, you believe in Bigfoot, you must believe in fucking unicorns, leprechauns, fucking fairies, trolls, goblins, and shit like that. I don't know why Bigfoot gets lumped in with the fucking fairy tale mystical fucking shit. I really don't know. I guess maybe it's because of the whole, some people thinking it's fucking ridiculous because of how ridiculous the fucking Bigfoot hunter shows are, and the monster hunter shows and everything else like that. It's how ridiculous some of those are. It's the reason why people think it's fairy tale, mythical shit. Like, yeah. It's stuff like that that pisses me off. I mean, but I expect it. I expect people to roll their eyes and think I'm fucking crazy, or think I'm a ridiculous human being, or think I'm, you know, believing in everything I see, or everything, you know, everything that it exists or doesn't exist. Like, no. I legit had some kind of encounter, some kind of experience, and thus I believe. I mean, I already kind of believed to begin with, but I didn't have, like, no, you know, actual encounter or actual anything myself. So it was just more or less, you know, just a kind of belief to begin with. But then, like I said, it solidified after that encounter or experience or whatever the hell it was. So, yeah. Go ahead. Laugh at me in the comments. Call me a ridiculous human being. Don't take me seriously. Anything else, go ahead. Because I know that's what's going to fucking happen. Oh, I know that kind of fucking thing. Automatically someone gets deemed as ridiculous, non-serious, don't take this person seriously. They automatically get deemed as that once they say their belief in fucking Bigfoot. And I mean, there's something else that gets treated the same way that I might make a video about later on. So expect that. So yeah, that's my story, experience, encounter, whatever. And I just wanted also just a little bit of rant and ramble about fucking Bigfoot hunting shows and monster hunting shows and shit like that. I kind of wanted to ramble about that a little bit. So yeah, see everybody later. Hope everybody liked the fucking new fucking setting of the woods. Yep. So I'll see everybody later. Bye.